Mike, check 1212. It's the Y2K collector, and there could be another retro game bubbling up this summer. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that. But before we get into that, I do want to just kind of go over some of the comments that we've gotten in the last 24 hours. Yesterday, I put out a video talking about fake and real SNES games, and I actually opened up a fake SNES game and a real Super Nintendo game and just compared the motherboards. But here are some of the responses that I got back. So the first one comes from Sticks of Truth, who says, I just picked up Contra Force through my job, and you best believe I checked the board. I would check anything over 30 or 40 bucks. I've seen people make fakes for $20 games. You also have to be careful of people putting copies of sports games inside reproduction shells. You could have a copy of Chrono Trigger with the motherboard of Madden. Make sure you line up and check the circuits on the board to see if it's the exact game. One more thing, some games do have separate circuit boards that are both legit, but were manufactured at different times. So check for this before you just outright call it a fake. I definitely know this is the case with Super Metroid. So, first of all, thank you, Sticks of Truth, for your comment. And I gotta say, he's definitely correct on people putting copies of sports games inside of other games. This is exactly what happened to me when I went and purchased a copy of Kirby's Dream Land 3 from GameStop. And when I came home and popped it in to my console, what came up was a copy of NBA Live. So I've definitely been a victim of that, and I actually have video of that. It's in one of the videos on my channel. I can't remember. If I can remember, I'll put a link. But yeah, that definitely happened to me. So Sticks of Truth, you're telling truth, and thank you for your comment. All right, we have another comment from Shinsen Zero, and he says, I'm 45 and have been gaming since the 8-bit and never stopped. Once I had a job during college, my collection really took off. Thankfully, my girlfriend, now wife, was cool with everything. Fast forward, I've got a family and etc., but still playing and collecting. I don't usually talk about gaming or my collection with non-gamers unless I'm asked. I'm not embarrassed, but I think most wouldn't be interested to hear me geek out about games. So thank you for the comment, Shinsen Zero. And this was in a response to a video that I put out regarding the social stigma of being a gamer in your 30s and 40s. And I would have to say I'm probably the same way, right? So gaming is a huge part of my life. My partner, she's definitely fully aware of it. She doesn't play games with me. She's not interested in video games at all, but she just accepts that it's a hobby that I'm very much into. So it's not something that I go around talking about. It's not something that that I bring up every time I'm around people. But if it's a topic that comes up, I'll definitely, engage in the conversation, share whatever knowledge I have. And if I do overhear that someone is getting rid of games or, looking for anyone who's looking to buy, then I'll definitely speak up. But like you, Shinsen Zero, I agree. Most people who don't care about video games don't want to hear you talk about it. And that goes with any hobby, right? If you're not into kung fu, you don't want to hear somebody talking about kung fu movies all day. If you don't like rap, you don't want to hear somebody talking about rap. If you're not into heavy metal music, you don't want to hear about the upcoming heavy metal shows. So I think the same could be said for any hobby. Thank you, Shinsen Zero, for the comment. All right, so just keeping it going with some of these comments here. Next comment that we have is from Mark Goss 9150. And he commented on my video about the stigma of being a gamer in your 30s and 40s. Mark says, I'm lucky that my two closest friends are gamers. Only issue I've come across is dating. I always say, what's better, going out to the club, drinking, doing drugs, or just relaxing and gaming at home? I work full-time and I'm a single full-time dad. My son and I bond over gaming. I'll never stop gaming because it's the one thing that's always been there for me. Sorry for the long comment. First of all, Mark, that is not a long comment. I've definitely seen longer. And thank you for that comment and your transparency, right? And so Mark is honest, and he's basically saying, like, listen, I'm a single dad, and gaming is it probably becomes an issue with him when it comes to his dating life. And, Mark didn't elaborate here, but I'm assuming it's because he probably spends more time gaming than he does, like he says, going out to the club, um, drinking and so on and so forth. I have two comments on that. So, first off, a club is definitely not where you want to go to meet a partner, right? If you're looking for something serious, if you're trying to have fun, I guess the club is the place for you to go. But if you're looking to meet someone that you're actually going to date, club is probably not the best place for it. But I think the club usually comes to mind because it's one of the main social gatherings for adults. When you think about a club, um, and meeting people. Obviously, there are a ton of other avenues you can go down to meet people. There are a ton of other places that you can meet people. But again, a lot of that is really going to circle around you stepping outside of your comfort zone and putting yourself in position to actually meet someone that you're going to date. And that's not going to happen if you're at home playing video games. I'll also say that clubbing is just the worst because it's a huge waste of money. Staying at home and playing your video games is free. You'll burn hundreds of dollars wasting time and energy at a club just to really spin your wheels and end up nowhere. So I don't think you're missing out anything, Mark, by not going to the club. But I will say that perhaps you should put yourself in more positions to meet people, whether that's joining a gaming group that's like a co-ed gaming group, or maybe an outdoors group, maybe doing something that's not gaming related, but will allow you to meet people. So, but again, I appreciate the honesty, and I think it's cool that you can connect with your son over your video games as well, especially as a single dad. That's definitely a great way to build that bond. And once again, thank you for the comment, Mark Goss 9150. All right, gonna keep it going here. I got a comment from Godlike OCD, and this is in response to my video where I said spending $900 on a $30 fake. Shake my head. So Godlike OCD says you probably buy weed without smelling it. It's a funny comment. So I actually don't buy weed at all. I don't smoke. But no knock to anyone who does those things. But no, I don't buy weed. So yeah. But yeah, and I don't really know if I know what the verification process on buying weed is. I don't know. I guess smelling it is how you verify whether it's good or not. But I guess you all can let me know down in the comments of this video if Godlike OCD is right in his weed verification methods. All right, keeping it going here with the comments. Let's see. We'll probably do one more comment here. And we'll take this one. This is one of the last comments that we've gotten. This actually just came in from Ronan Storm YT. He says, and this is in response to my video about fake SNES games. He says, this is why I stopped collecting for cartridges, cartridge, I think he says for cartridges games. Game Boy is easy. You can find the stamp number or for GBA, look on the back for gold squares. I only collect disc games, PS1, PS2, PS3, PSP, Vita, 3DS, so I am good. And GameCube also for DS. Just ask the owner to send you a top pick. There's special gap or groove only for the DS games. You can tell if it's fake or not. For Pokemon Soul Silver and Generation 5 Black and White and White and Black 2, just see if you can shine a light through. So it looks like Ronan was just giving us some tips here on how you can spot some of these fakes. And yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of methods that I've seen people use to verify whether or not their games are real or not. You just got to be able to do your own due diligence, and that's when you're buying anything that's expensive. Games, jewelry, a car, a house. You got to just do your homework. I'll end on this one. So he says, this comes from Zombie38. He says, I only own 2 reproduction carts for the Genesis since those were cheap. Both screams fake by just looking at the label, but played fantastically. So that did it for me. If wondering which games, they were the Punisher and Alien Soldier. Okay, so Zombie, thank you for that comment. And yeah, Alien Soldier, I don't know if that ever got a US release, but I do know that Punisher is a very expensive game. And I actually have a copy of the Punisher. I know that to get a complete copy of Punisher, at one point it was like over $500. But there's like complete when it comes to the Punisher, and then there's complete, which complete for me, I think the if you get everything that comes in the Punisher game, I think there was like a tattoo that comes with it. Obviously, you got the manual, you get all the inserts, the game, and everything. And most people, when they say they have it complete, they usually just means that they have the case, the game, and the manual. But you can have it complete, where you have the game, the case, the manual, all the inserts, and then again, I think there's a tattoo that came with that game. It was either that or Comic Zone. I can't remember, but let me know down in the comments on which one that applies to. Can't remember at the moment. Last but not least, I'm interested to know your thoughts. So it seems that sealed retro games are selling for hundreds of thousands of dollars again. There was a sealed copy of Castlevania original print that was sold. Also another Mario game that was sold. And so my question for the day is, are we going to see another price bubble when it comes to retro games based on what their sealed graded counterparts are selling for? Usually we don't see a direct impact, but I'm not really sure, because I remember in 2021 and 2022, this was definitely impacting the overall retro gaming market. So Mario Bros is one of those games that's notorious for winding up in auctions, and so I'm interested to know your thoughts. It's the Y2K Collector. It's Thursday. We're only one day away from the weekend. Hopefully the week has treated you well. I will see you again this afternoon. Take it easy.